Now this one will disturb you, and it is one that remains unsolved ever since one fateful night in the year 2000 involving the disappearance of a young girl in very strange and unsettling circumstances, and you will be googling this one until the early hours of the morning to piece it all together yourself. Now it's the story of a 9-year-old girl called Asha Degree who was born on the 5th of August 1990 and who simply vanished from her home in Shelby, North Carolina just before dawn on Valentine's Day in 2000. Now, Harold and Akila Degree married on Valentine's Day in 1988, and their son O'Brien was born a year later, and Asha was born in 1990. The parents and Asha lived on Oakcrest Drive in a residential subdivision, which was a rural area north of Shelby, North Carolina, on the western edge of the Charlotte metropolitan area. Now the parents were quite liberal minded, and the kids would let themselves in after school, where they would either be doing their homework or finished it by the time that the parents had returned home from their respective jobs. So there were no issues, and they were a normal, well-functioning family and household. They also made sure that their children were insulated from any unnecessary outside influences, and mainly that they had like a life centred around their extended family, their church, their school, and their own family life. On the night in question, Asha Degree's parents had tucked her into her bed without any issues the night before Valentine's Day. It was at some time just after midnight when a nearby car accident left the family's neighbourhood without any power, and as a result Asha's father went to check on what was happening, and also on Asha and his son O'Brien, and found both still in their beds sound asleep. He then checked again shortly before he went to bed at around 2:30 a.m. and again saw them both sound asleep in their beds. Then, in the very early morning hours of February the 14th, 2000, Asha got out of bed apparently between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m. Was she sleepwalking? What actually caused her to get out of her bed at this ungodly time? Then, and for reasons unknown to anyone, Asha packed her book bag with several sets of clothes and personal items and then left her family home north of the city. Unbeknown to her parents, she began walking along nearby North Carolina Highway 18, and this was despite the heavy rain and severe wind. There were plenty of witnesses who saw her, including several passing motorists, including a truck driver who said that she was wearing a long-sleeved white t-shirt and white pants. They reported this to police after seeing a TV report about her disappearance, with one witness stating that they had seen a storm raging where he saw her at the material time. Now, one particular motorist turned their car around as they saw this little girl all on her own, and they went to approach her to see if she was okay and to find out where her parents were, as this was most unusual given her age and the torrential weather and the elements. Upon seeing the car approaching, the witness states that Asha Degree suddenly left the roadside and ran into a wooded area to avoid being spoken to, and like that, she was gone straight into the woods, never to be seen again. Akila opened the children's room to wake them up and call them to the bath, but she noticed that O'Brien was still in his bed, but Asha was not, and Akila was unable to find her in the house or in the family cars. On top of that, there was no note, no telltale signs of anything sinister, no other lead or evidence pointing as to why she had suddenly left the house with no apparent purpose or any incident. Akila went into panic mode and she called her mother, who told her to call the police. Now, shortly afterwards, O'Brien, then aged 10, stated that he did hear Asha's bed squeak, but did not further rouse himself, as he assumed that she was merely changing her positions in her sleep. Now, the parents alerted the authorities and an intensive search began that day, and then the community became fully involved with search parties and all sorts of investigations as to where she went. Her parents had stated that Asha was scared to death of dogs, and as such they thought she would never go out of the house on her own, so this added to the mystery and confusion, and even more so, where did she go? By 6:40 a.m, the first police officers had arrived on the scene, and then police dogs were also called to the scene, but they still could not pick up Asha's scent. During the search, however, it did lead them to a location of some of her personal effects near where she was last seen in the street and the wooded area, according to the witness who had last seen her. Candy wrappers were found in a shed at a nearby business along the highway. Along with them were a pencil, a green marker and a yellow hair bow that were identified as belonging to Asha. This was near where Asha had been seen running into the woods and where that last witness had seen her. Then around a year and a half later, her book bag, still packed as it was that day when she left the house, was then unearthed from a construction site along Highway 18 north of Shelby in Monganton. And it was wrapped in a plastic bag, and the worker who found it said the book bag contained Asha's name and her phone number. This book bag was found at the point where she ran into the woods on that fateful day. What happened? Where did she go? Now, police had later commented that their frustrations with this case were such that they never really had a good first substantial lead to help them. This was indeed frustrating and well, just bizarre, and a sinister set of circumstances surrounding her sudden disappearance. The running into the woods, the book bag, the candy wrappers, the picture of the black girl who looked just so similar to Asha Degree. It was all disturbing and unsettling when it was all pieced together. In March 2000, police erected a full-size colour billboard featuring Degree's image and identifying information along Highway 18, near where Degree was last seen. And this billboard now still stands, appealing for help to find her. Now, on top of that, her family still hosts an annual walk from their home to the billboard to draw attention to the case, and in the hope that any new information or witnesses can come forward to shed some or any light as to where she is now and what actually happened to her. Then in 2005, Degree's image was featured on the work vehicles of two North Carolina companies, SevPro, a water cleanup and restoration service, and Republic GDS, a waste pickup service, with an age-progressed photo of Degree created by the FBI, and it featured on about 28 vehicles for a period of about 30 to 60 days. But still, nothing and no further leads, leading to the mystery of her disappearance. The Degrees even took further steps to keep Asha's memory and the case alive in the public's mind. So in 2008, they established a scholarship in her name for a deserving local student and kept her memory alive. Now, whilst the initial circumstances of Asha Degree's disappearance at first seemed to suggest that she was running away from home, and this was a possible and a plausible reason for her leaving, investigators could not find a clear reason that she might have done so. And as for one, she was younger than most children who do that. And next, there were absolutely no signs of anything that would cause her to flee, as she came from a loving family. Years after her disappearance, it was concluded by authorities that Asha Degree had been abducted following her leaving her home. And this then makes me think, as stated by me before, why did the witnesses not pursue her? A young 9-year-old girl walking in torrential weather, all on her own, lost, scared, in danger from the cars, the weather, the strangers. That is disconcerting and would make anyone sit up and take notice. Why was she not stopped and spoken to at the very least? And why was there not any kind of intervention? This will never be known. And on the other hand, and from Akila's account of what Asha had taken with her, the police investigators believed that she had planned and prepared for this departure over the several days preceding her disappearance. Planned for it as a 9-year-old girl in torrential weather, and when she was seen in inclement weather and running into the woods. I don't really know what is going on, but the case has since drawn national media attention, and in 2015 the FBI joined state and county authorities to reopen the investigation and also offer a reward for information that could help solve the case and unravel the mystery behind this young girl's disappearance. Akila has said more than once that she fully expects Asha to turn up to the house one day in the future, and she prays for this to be a reality. This one is a baffling cold case that just gives me the chills when I think about all of the circumstances surrounding what happened and what could have happened to poor little Asha Degree. It will stay with me for a while, I know that much. Guys, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more similar content, then make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you back in a bit. Thanks for watching.